All right. Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Angela Being with Angela Grace Events, where every day is a reason to celebrate. And during the season of our lives, I am interviewing entrepreneurs and talking to them about how they're transitioning and pivoting in their business as we go through these different challenges that we have never seen before. And today I am so excited because I am joined with one of my clients, Lori, and I'm just so excited to have her on here. It's been a while since we've connected, so thank you so much for being here. She is a financial professional with Equitable, and I'm going to let her kind of talk to you about what she does, how she started her business, and what she's doing right now to transition. We actually had met, was it a couple years ago, just kind of learning about each other's journeys. And she had told me about this really amazing idea that she had for an event. And we'll talk a little bit about that too, because that's something that was planned. It was supposed to happen last week, right? And we had to postpone it. It's not being canceled by any means. But it's been postponed, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But I'm just going to let her take over. Lori, you tell me, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your business as a financial professional and how you got started.
Okay, great. Thank you. You are just the best. I love getting to know you better all the time, and working with you has been a dream and so helpful to me. So I am in financial services, and that could mean a whole bunch of different things. But so I try to help people to understand their finances and where they're at, and where they, talk about where they want to go, and then how are they going to get there. And one of the things that's really important to me is, or a couple of things. One is for them not to feel the fear, anxiety, stress, or those types of things around money. And if they are feeling those, work with them to get over that, because really what we're doing is we're talking about where you are today. So where you are today is not the past, and it's not the future. So it just is what it is. And that's what I try to explain to people. And let's just look at it as matter of fact. Here are the numbers, and we all know numbers don't lie, good or bad. But that's okay, because we've all been through things. And look where we are today, especially. Oh my goodness, everything's up in the air. So, I've done things that I could have done things better in my past with money and financial situations. So we've all done what we thought was best at the time. And so I say, no judging, no guilt, no nothing. Let's just take a fresh start, take a look. And then where do you want to go? Where are you in your life? Do you want to buy a house? Do you have kids to put through college? Do you have, are you trying to save for retirement? Are you trying to make a big purchase of any kind? And then we just look at those things and make a plan for them. I'm not saying it's simple or easy, but it's also not rocket science. We just put a plan together and we take baby steps. It's the other really important thing I think people need to realize is you don't have to start doing something that's, a giant task right now, or it's more money than you could ever start saving. That's not the goal. The goal is to get to the best place we can get with what we have, right? And maybe, start saving more, start spending less. So just making a little adjustment here and there. And that's truly what I try to do when I'm working with people. And my favorite clients are women entrepreneurs, because I realized when I was, working on what's your niche and who are you trying to work with, I just, through all the work and all the things I did, I said, oh my gosh, this is me. And once I realized that, it was a game changer, because I just meet people and I say, what situation are you in? Because they're always very similar in some way.
Right. And I love that because you can relate to that. You can relate to your target market. And I think you have so much to offer. When I met you, you just have such a big heart for that community and for women who really want to get real and get, dare I say, down and dirty with their finances and just kind of move forward. So I love that you really meet us where we are. And then, like you said, just move forward, work with what you can, take those baby steps, and then just kind of take it from there, because every little step is going to get you closer to your goal. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and so
Go ahead.
So I want to ask you, I know that there's a couple of things. So I know we talked a little bit about your event. Um, but as a financial professional, how has this season that we're going through right now, how has it affected you personally and professionally? So I know that we've had to, talked about postponing your event, but working with
Yeah.
clients as well, like how has it kind of changed the way that you're doing business and then what you're doing personally? We talked about a little bit offline that you had to purchase a couple things. So just tell us all about how all that's coming around for you.
So business wise, I have an office with the company, but I've also always had my home office and I work from both. So, probably I was set up 80% of the way when this started. And I've been able to add what I needed for the most part. So I'm probably at 95% of working from home. Okay. And part of that is, learning the different software programs like Zoom and how do you use them and how do you show your screen and things like that. So I think, and our company has been really good about doing some trainings on it. So I think what it's really done is, while face-to-face is important, and I think you always, I personally need to meet my clients if at all possible, if they're in, the California area, especially. Some are out of state, but other than that, I really love to meet them face to face because there's something about that connection that is different. But once you have met and have a chance to talk a little bit, online does work. It's possible to do what I need to do online for the most part. We have electronic signature documents, so a lot of what I need to do that way is electronic. So business wise, I think the biggest thing that's changed is my conversations, because I'm not talking to people about investing or what are they saving for or anything like that today. I'm talking more about what's going on in the world and how that's affecting them financially. And that was where I had my epiphany on, I need to have a conversation with people where I'm offering them some help. And so we can talk about that more in a little bit, but and personally, I have good days and bad days. I'm typically pretty positive, and over the weekend things were great. I was happy. I was, really upbeat. And then yesterday, not quite sure what happened, but I felt it when I woke up, and then I ran to the store to get a couple things, and it was just weird. I felt kind of like I was in a Twilight Zone movie, if any of you remember that show. And
I feel you on that for sure.
yeah, and it really affected me. So I came home, and I think one of the things I learned here is during this time is, if I'm off, there's not a whole lot I can do, but just step back, kind of let myself breathe and be calm and, get in the moment as much as I can, and then take the time I need to get over it. And yesterday took me till this morning. But I think it takes what it takes, I was grateful to wake up feeling good again this morning. It could take days, weeks. I don't know. I'm sure some people are affected more long-term by this. And so
Yeah.
if it's a couple hours, I'll live with that, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think today I woke up feeling a little bit better because I kind of felt like I had a plan and a purpose. I'm talking to you. I had a couple other meetings, and if I feel like I'm helping someone, then it's like very much more like an energetic feeling. But if I wake up and I'm like, what am I doing today? Like, yes, I have the kids, it's spring break, and at the same time, like you said, it's just some days are just blah. Some days are like, okay, I've got this, and we just gotta remain positive, control what we can control, right? Because I completely understand when you go to the grocery store, it's like kind of like doomsday, and you're like, okay, there's nothing on the shelf, but the people are just kind of walking around like zombies, and it's like, you gotta get out of here, get what you can,
nobody's
and go.
talking to each other. It really was kind of like a zombie movie. It was like, wow, this is freaking me out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's good that we can talk about it. I think the more that we talk about it and are real with our feelings, then it's like, okay, let's just move on from that now. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And
but thank
it's
you for
not
sharing that.
forever. So, let's just, and I think you're right. When I have something I'm excited or looking forward to that day, it does help. Definitely. If you're getting up and you're saying, well, I have nothing on my calendar exactly, and I know I need to do these things, but sometimes you're just not up for it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's okay. I think what I've been learning too, and what I've been hearing from other people is like, you know what, acknowledge your feelings,
Yeah.
give them a name. I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm okay. Then you know how you're feeling, then you can just like I said earlier, just move on. So it's
Exactly.
okay, it's okay, guys, if you're feeling, frustrated. We're all going through this together, and we don't know how to feel or act or
No, and I think part of it is, being isolated pretty much, even if it's with your family. um, we're not talking to them so much about how we feel. I think it's, and I hate to say it this way, but knowing other people are going through something similar always gives me comfort. Not that I want them to be suffering in any way, but to know that it's not just me, or I'm not going crazy inside my head, that this
right,
is
right.
something that's just kind of a normal thing in these kinds of times. It's comforting.
Yeah, it's our temporary new normal. I keep calling it. So it's not going to be like this forever. Are things going to change after? I think, I think we're going to be doing a lot more meeting online. Things are going to go back like, exactly as they were before. But it's okay. We're resilient, and I feel like people are, finding different ways to pivot. Like you said, there's DocuSign. People can sign
Yeah.
electronically. It's affecting us, but is it really affecting us that much? Like I feel like people are becoming more aware. They're getting more creative. They're collaborating a little bit more. Even with these Zoom calls, like there were some networking meetings that I couldn't attend because I just physically couldn't. And now it's like, okay, well, I can roll out of bed and join a 7:30 a.m. meeting because I don't have to drop the kids off to school today.
Yeah, so you're right. In some ways, it's given us more access to things and more people than we might have had before. Because you're right, you don't have to do travel time. You don't have to coordinate schedules so much, and just pick it up online. That's one of the things I had written down was think out of the box. We really have to kind of go beyond what our everyday used to be. And thank goodness for technology. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if we didn't have all this?
No, and you know what? It's a blessing and a curse, but I think right now it's a big blessing. You know. So
Yesterday, when I wasn't feeling all that together or with it, I actually put my phone down and I said, I'm taking a break from my phone. I don't want to text or talk to anybody that way. I don't even want to talk to anybody right now. I just need to put that all away, and I shut it down. And I did check my emails to make sure I wasn't missing out on anything I needed to take care of. But beyond that, I really wasn't with friends and family and stuff. I was just letting that be because I needed to just stop a minute.
yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think sometimes it can be overwhelming, just like with the keep constant pinging because everybody's texting or
The group
you're like, do
text.
I need
Oh
to
my
look at it?
goodness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to turn some of them on silent because it's like it's just too much. And you know what? It's okay. Put it away for a little bit and then wait till you're recharged, and then you can go back and look at it.
Exactly.
But yeah, and I'm doing my very best to keep a positive tone with everything that I put out there, and it sounds like you are too. And so,
Yeah, definitely. And I have to say, you're awesome at that. Whenever I get a message from you or talk to you or anything, I always feel a little bit better because you're always so positive, and you have, you provide me answers or ways to help me not feel so anxious about something that I don't understand.
oh well, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. So, and I feel the same way from you. So, and we just got to keep sharpening each other up. So.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so and we can talk about this really quickly, but we were planning for your big launch last
Yeah.
week. So tell me a little bit about that and how things are moving with that, or
Yeah.
not moving right now, maybe.
So it was the thing was that makes it such a big deal is that I had been formulating this idea and this event for a year and a half, probably more than that. And then when I met you, I was explaining to you kind of about what I was thinking. And that's when I learned about what you do. And as time went on and things got more clear for me, that's when we started to work together. And it got to the point where this was ready to go. I was so comfortable and confident in it. And what it really was, again, like I looked at myself and said, I'm my ideal client. I also looked at myself and said, what would I want out of an event? And I talked a little bit about people's fears or stress or anxiety, insecurities, guilt around financial stuff, or just people bring it up and it's everyone that kind of goes, so my goal with the workshops was to bring someone else in to present along with me, and they would go first and talk to people about where they were with their feelings around money, finances, abundance, good or bad feelings, right? And then the past. And let's talk about that a little bit. But you're in a kind of a controlled setting and someone's there to help you, guide you through it. So for me, that's always been comforting, right? It's like, well, maybe I can expose this little thing right now or talk about it because I'm surrounded by a bunch of people. I'm not just in my own head. And so my goal is to have that as the first part, and then introduce myself and how I work with people and let them know a little bit about what I can do to help them get a clear picture of their finances today. Again, let the past go and let's move forward from there. And so
Right.
Once I had that together, then we added a few fun things like some food and some good, fun drinks and a jewelry person and things like that. And so it was hard because I was so ready to go. And, I just said, I know people that had to cancel weddings, that friends or loved ones have passed away and they couldn't really do the services they wanted to do. And when I think about that, I think, oh my goodness, this is something I can recreate down the road. And that's when I start going, this isn't the end of the world. When you can bring into what others are going through and understand that what I'm doing is like a little pinprick, So my next event is been on the schedule for April 30th. And it sounds like that might be the last day that we have to kind of shelter in place or whatever they're calling this thing. And so I'm still waiting a little bit to decide what to do about that. If I can hold it live, I would love to. I don't know if people are going to be ready to get out or not. I think there's going to be a mix there. So I know I'm going to be ready to be around people.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is going to be.
Yeah. I need to hug people and have some, face-to-face interaction and all that good stuff. So I may do a Zoom and live, or if I can't do it live at all, I'll just maybe do it Zoom and create another one shortly thereafter where we can do a live event. So we'll get to it, but I'm ready to go with the flow, and whatever we have to do, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think what you definitely have is so beautiful, and people are ready for it. I know that you're ready, and it's just really exciting. People were already, I think you already had like 20 people signed up at the last time we talked.
20.
Yeah, and so I mean, people are ready for it, and you know what? Just because we're going through this right now doesn't mean that it's not going to go out there. I love your attitude around it, just going with the flow, and just trying to find the right time and the way to launch. I think you have a really great attitude about it, and it's exploring abundance workshops, guys. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And we can, if we can put a little note there, we could put the link. You can still sign up for it, and you can put the resources I'm creating in my email. So anyone can contact me any way they want to.
Yeah, for sure. We'll put the link in the description and we'll share that, because I mean, I definitely want to support you and make sure that people know about this awesome workshop series, because you have your own personal stories. We all have our personal stories around money and abundance, our own blocks that, we need out of the way so that we can move forward, especially after this. I think it's going to be so helpful. right?
Oh, I
Now that I
so
think about it,
agree.
maybe there's a reason.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that too. This is a whole new experience no one's ever had, right? So this will be something we can talk about, and we're all going through it together, but we're also all going through it individually in our own ways, right? But I have to say, one of the reasons this kind of structure of having someone else talk first about feeling.
Okay, so we are back. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty, and Lori was just talking about her exploring abundance workshop, and I'm going to let her kind of take it from there again.
Yeah, so I have experienced the transition of from limiting beliefs to abundant beliefs, and since I've made that transition, I have been able to stay in that abundant mindset, and now I just want it for everybody.
Oh yeah.
So if any of this resonates with you, please sign up for the 4:30 4-30 April 30th event on the link that we're going to give you, or email me, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about it. But we're going to make this happen.
Yes, it's going to happen for sure. I think I think the last thing we were saying that it's going to be very important more than ever to kind of talk about our blocks about money and abundance and receiving. I mean, it's going to be so important after we go through all of this quarantine
For
time.
sure. For
Yeah,
sure. And interestingly, that's one of the things I decided I could do right now, because um, I don't, if it were me and I was working with somebody on my finances, unless my situation was something that they knew I wanted to invest money, I don't think people want to talk about that right now. There's so much uncertainty around what's going on in the world, in the economy, both in the US as well as globally, because everything's connected now. That the first week I was home working, I sat back and I said, what would I be able to do that I could help people with, that I could
right.
pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I've got something I think you'd really like to know about. And so what I decided to do was start collecting all the resources that are becoming available because of this coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. And the state's done some things, the federal government's done some things, and they keep doing more. So what I've done, and I also looked at the SBA site, and I said, okay, these are the documents you need to submit an application, pretty much regardless of who you are, what you're trying to accomplish. And so that's an easy to follow thing. Rather than trying to decipher the
Right.
government's writing or the website you're going to, because they're not clear as day.
No.
And I've done a lot with the government, just in my careers. So I kind of know how to decipher and understand it. And also I am listening to a lot of informational webinars and presentations on the resources that are available to us, because this last one that got finally signed on Friday is huge. It's like almost 1,000 pages, I mean, and so I have some resources that are helping me kind of take that into bite sizes, and then I take those bite-sized pieces and make them into plain English.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We were just talking earlier about how you're just putting them into layman's terms because we were having conversations recently. I mean, I was having conversations recently with other entrepreneurs, and they're just like, oh, I applied, but I don't know if I'm going to get anything. I'm not sure exactly what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I was just even asking you, I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't really like applied for my updated business license. And so I'm putting myself out there, guys. And like, am I even going to qualify? Like, what do I need? But as a entrepreneur and, you asked me a good question, like, how do I file my taxes? So I go in there and my tax person will um, file me as what did we call it?
Like a solopreneur.
The solopreneur, yeah. So, and that you said that's all you need, my social security, because if you don't have a EIN number or a tax ID
Yeah,
number.
lots of people don't. And some self-employed people don't have that either. So, yeah, so there's simple answers to some of those questions, but finding the material and then reading it and then understanding what that answer was is really, I think, where the difficulty comes in.
You gotta dig.
And yeah, and I work with taxes and tax situations and different structures of businesses all the time. So I do have familiarity with that. So
Right.
I am so happy to help someone just step through this and answer those questions so they can get to the point where they can apply, know what they need to apply, and then that's the first step in anything, right? The next step is going to be when they get to your application in that queue, they're going to call you and talk to you about it anyway. So there may be more down the road, but I can get you set up so at least when they get your application, you've got the right pieces with it, because that's going to get you one step ahead of everybody else who doesn't. And it's like 5 documents. And I'm not saying it's not going to take any time. Time, yes, but it won't be difficult to do.
Okay. So can you break it down a little bit for us? So is this for the small businesses, or is it for?
There's first of all, this is about applying for assistance. The government, on the last thing they signed, they are sending people money, so that's separate from this. What I'm looking at is resources for businesses to apply for loans. And some of the loans you apply for are more grants. So in other words, you don't have to pay them back. Some are, yeah, really. There's a lot of money out there to be had that you don't have to pay back. People just don't understand it because who's explaining it on that level? You know, they're just saying, oh, this is available, but nobody knows what it is. So I've got documents I can send to people and then walk through them with them through it, and or maybe even do a webinar.
Yeah, take advantage of this, guys, because there aren't a lot of people who are willing to do this. So thank you so much, Lori, for offering your services, because I think it's so important for people to just understand and talk to somebody who cares, like Lori.
I do. I want people to get this money. They deserve it. It's hard. And I don't charge anything to do this, guys. So I'm not here to make money right now. I'm here to help you because I know information that you might not. And that can be so, just if it saves you the frustration and stress of trying to decipher something, that's even worth something, I think. But I can go much further than that in helping explain stuff to you guys. So I've got documents, I can send you them, I can walk through them with you, I can explain situations. If I don't know the answers, I'll research, or we'll figure out who can tell us the answer. So, but I'm here and I'm willing to help anybody.
That's
so
awesome.
I was saying, stuff is available for people who are W-2 employees, people that own their own business, people that are just like self-employed doing their own thing, people who are contractors like 1099s. Usually they can't get unemployment, but there's exceptions for almost everybody in this new stuff. And so they can get unemployment. They get what's it called? Exceptions. If you get tips for normally, you can't claim those for unemployment. Now you can. So there's all kinds of resources out there for just about anybody. I can work with anybody who has up to 500 employees. Past 500 employees, it's a whole different ballgame. But up to that, I can help with tax credits, payroll, things that you can apply for to get not pay Social Security taxes for the rest of the year. All kinds of things that I can't really list all of them right here, but there's a lot.
Okay, that's awesome. And then you said the documents. So is it going to be different for each person, each situation, what kind of documents that you need, or are there like 5 essential ones?
You know, there's basically 5 essential documents for everyone except, let's see, if you're a business owner, a solopreneur has one exception. They file a different application. But besides that, it's an application and 4 other documents along with your last federally filed tax return. And That's it. And you just upload them, email to them, and get in the queue. So that's it.
All
It's really
right,
not.
yeah. Get in the queue. I like that because it's going to be a while before they
Oh,
might even get to you.
yeah. And
Oh my
then there's also the unemployment
God.
submission, which is different. So that's
Okay.
more for the people that aren't maybe, bus- excuse me, maybe business owners who are looking for money to put in back into their
Right.
business. But for people who are just unemployed or laid off or furloughed or whatever it might be, um, unemployment's available. Federal is kicking in extra money on top of the state unemployment. They're starting it from day one. You don't
Wow.
have to wait a week like you used to have to wait. They're doing it for everyone, including people who this uh, gig employment, they're calling
Okay.
it. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that is, but I think
Okay.
that's a person who's basically out there like a waiter or who works for a small salary and gets tips. They're
Right.
making exceptions and adjustments for those people too.
Okay. And I just found out from my tax person that taxes are extended, or
Yes.
the date, the file date is extended to July 15th now.
Yes, July
Yep. And there's
15th
nothing really that
for
you need to do, right? It's just,
nothing.
that's just what the
Automatically
new
you
date
get
is.
the extension. They're not going to charge you interest or penalties if you do owe money between April and July 15th. So they're
Mm.
giving us a grace period. And my sister brought that up. She was stressing to get all this information together. I said, why? You've got till July. Get out of time and before you know it, you'll be ready to go.
Yeah. And
So
I
for
just have,
sure.
and we talk a lot about mindset too, especially because, when we're talking about like the exploring abundance workshops where, it's very important to have a good mindset around it. And you know what? I think I've been under unemployment, when I first lost my job in 2018, that was, when that last recession was. And
Yes.
I felt really, I had a really weird feeling about calling and asking and applying. And it's just like, you know what? It's okay, guys. This money is here for you. Kind of, we just have to look at it as, it is assistance to us to keep our businesses going. And,
Right.
Lori's here to help. So call her
Yes.
and, connect with her. We'll put her information and the links down below so you can reach her. I think it's just so important that we just remember that we're all in this together, like you said,
Yeah.
and that it's okay to get help. It really is.
Yes, I so resonate with you because you're right. You don't want to be the one who has to rely on help from other people, but especially because it's a federal government and they're basically saying, here's some money for you to help you because we closed down the country. And I say, take advantage of it.
Yeah, we pay our taxes, so you
That's
know what? It's
right.
just coming full circle. You know what? We
That's
never
right.
thought we were going to need it.
I don't normally like to do that either, but I'm doing it for both my husband and my businesses, both of us,
Yeah,
because it's there for us and we are going through tough times,
right.
both emotionally and financially. So let's take the outstretched hand
Yeah,
and use it.
yeah. It's almost somebody else was telling me, reminding me about that story about how this guy was drowning. I think it was Amanda, actually. She was just, we were talking about it and how there's a boat coming by and it's trying to save the guy. He's like, no, I've been praying that God's going to save me. And it's like, take the boat because God's sending that boat for you. Like,
Exactly.
this
I've
is your
heard
boat.
that one too. I've heard that one. It's like, what do you think he's doing sending a boat for
Yeah.
you?
That's your lifeline, take it. And
Yeah.
there's no shame. I just have to stress that because I felt like that, and it's like,
I do. And I'm so glad you brought that up because it's such a good point. Do not feel, again, there come those feelings of, oh my gosh, I'm taking advantage or I'm not good enough or something's wrong or this is bad. It's not. Right now
no,
is an exceptional time.
yeah,
Let's take advantage of the exceptional offers they're making.
right. Just receive it. It's like when somebody gives you a compliment, just say thank you and be quiet.
That's right. Good for you. That's perfect.
Yeah. So, okay. So, we're going to put the links to the resources for those individuals and small businesses and self-employed in the links, and you guys can get connected with Lori. She's also giving out her phone number.
Yes,
So
call
you want to give her a call.
me. I'm
And
here.
so, yeah. And so thank you so much for sharing everything that's happening with you personally and professionally, and then sharing your services to whoever's going to be calling you. And I hope that they do. So now,
Thanks.
my last question for you before we kind of dig into anything else that you want to share is, how do you see your business evolving and thriving even after this season has kind of ended?
That's a good question. I thought about that a little bit, and I think that from now till like the end of the year, I'm guessing my business is going to be a lot of what it is right now, because things are going to change, calm down, and eventually we'll get back in the flow of things. But financially, I think the impact's going to be there for a little while. So I want to continue being a resource for people, whether they filed their, documents now and they got the help already. What's next? I want to be there for what's next. I just feel a real calling to be of assistance to people in whatever way they need me right now. And that's where I want to be. So I still need to make a living, but that doesn't mean that there won't be occasions where I'm working with someone or helping someone where there will be an opportunity for them to obtain something that I can offer them. And so my services might be included in there, but they don't even pay me directly for that. I do not charge a client a fee for these things.
Right.
So I'm just trying to stay open to being where I need to be for where the people need me, as well as keeping my own doors open and continuing to grow and thrive. And as we come out of this on the other end, that's when all the people I've met, when your business starts taking off again and you need help, like figuring out how to save money, how to save on taxes, how to do all the things that I've been talking to people about before this stuff happened, that's when that will kick back in and I'll be able to help people with that part as well.
Right. I love it. I love your attitude so much. I mean, I feel like people have really been coming together, and I'm going to start crying. But, and just because I know who you are, I know your heart, and it's just like, you have so much space for people, and just for you to be empathetic about, okay, well, things are happening to me right now, but I'm not getting married. I'm not, planning a funeral. And I think when we put things into perspective and we focus on what we can do for others, then it takes the pressure off of what am I going to do with myself? What am I going to do about paying my bills next month? It is challenging for all of us. And I think, the more that we can support each other, the more better off we're all going to be. And so I really appreciate you for that. And for everyone watching who's really like, thinking about, what can I do? Think about how you can add value to your community. And when this all started, that's where my head went first. And it's just like, how can you be present with where you are right now? And then how can you focus on connecting with your community? And I love that you're doing that. You're connecting with your clients and already being a resource. So thank you so much for that. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
No, thank you so much. That was sweet. Yeah, I tend to get a little teary on this stuff too, but I think, we're all in the same boat. We're all going through this together, and let me be the one who goes through the first steps of it and then explains to you how to do it.
Yeah. Take her up on the offer, guys.
The same thing, yeah.
Yeah, she knows what she's talking about. So, okay, so make sure again, it's gonna be Lori-Wilson.com, and then it's COVID-19 resources. But we'll put all of that information. We've got her email address down below and her phone number. And please, connect with her. And if you guys have any questions, let her know. If you guys would like to be interviewed, or if you have any specific topics that you're interested in talking about during this time, please let me know as well. You can find me on Angela Grace Events on Facebook and Instagram. On TikTok now, having fun dancing. Angela Grace Celebrates. And you know what? Let's just keep supporting each other during this time. And really, again, thank you so much, Lori, for being here and for sharing your story and for sharing your resources. All right. Thank you, guys. Remember to make every day a reason to celebrate. Talk to you guys later.